The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, February 12, reveal that Sharon Newman will get rejected while Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra lose control in Paris. First, let's talk about Sally and Billy's getaway, which will allow Sally to mix business with pleasure. Of course, it could be hard for Sally to focus on work when Billy's there to dazzle her with romantic gestures. Billy and Sally will find themselves on quite the adventure together, so they'll lose control of their emotions. Although Sally was trying to keep her guard up and protect her heart, she may realize she's in too deep for that now. It sounds like Billy and Sally will just have to trust each other and hope that this path to love doesn't end in disaster. Back in Genoa City, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will have a difficult choice to make. Although Daniel likes the idea of focusing on something new and distracting himself from his Heather Stevens grief, he's got plenty of reservations about Billy's pitch. Since Daniel knows Billy tends to crash and burn when it comes to all his projects, there are good reasons for him to worry. That's especially true since Phyllis Summers is involved and brings her own wildcard status to the table. Nevertheless, Phyllis will continue to play up Abbott Communications as a wonderful opportunity and hope she can push Daniel to give Billy some good news soon. Over with Summer Newman, she'll have a chilly encounter with Sharon on Wednesday's I&R episode. Our predictions point to Sharon extending an apology for her part in the nightmare Summers family just went through. Ian Ward and Jordan deserve most of the blame for what happened, but Sharon will remain remorseful for dumping Heather's body and setting Daniel up with planted evidence. Despite Sharon's attempt to let Summer know she's sorry, she'll get snubbed. It sounds like Summer will basically reject Sharon's apology and doubt she's ever going to get past what Sharon did. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon may have to make some updates to her tactics when it comes to making amends, so don't miss what's in store. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless scoop for Tuesday, February 11 reveals Damian Kane will learn that Nate Hastings is his half-brother. Also coming up, Victor Newman won't be budged on his stance about Claire Newman and Kyle Abbott plus Summer Newman will be uncomfortable, and Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins will warn Victoria Newman. Y&R spoilers tease Jack and Diane will confront Victoria about Billy Abbott's being ousted from Chancellor. But she'll tell them it was Jill Abbott's doing, not her father's. A day will soon come when you can't defend the indefensible, Jack will reply. Then he'll ask Victoria what she's going to do when Victor starts interfering in Claire's life. Jack will remind Victoria what Victor did to her. Diane will coax Jack away, and Claire will ask her mom what Victor did to her. So she'll tell her daughter she and Billy said their I do's, but then she was taken away in handcuffs. And she's not about to let the same thing happen to Claire someday. Y&R Daily Scoop. Summer makes a face when Claire calls them. Meanwhile, Nick Newman will say he knows what Victor's up to. He wants to manipulate Summer, so she drives a wedge between Claire and Kyle. Victor will reply that Kyle isn't good enough for Claire. Then why on earth is Kyle good enough for Summer? Nick will ask, but Victor will say it's different. There's a child involved. They're connected, deeply connected. Nick will tell him that when it comes to protecting the family, it always has to be on Victor's terms. I love you, but it's Summer's life. Victor will say Claire is innocent. I don't want her to fall in love with that Abbott idiot. Then Victoria will show up to confront him about his interference in her daughter's life. She'll remind him he did it to her. I'm not going to let it happen to Claire, Daddy, but Victor won't be having it. He'll say he doesn't want to argue about it, and he'll storm off. At the Abbott estate, Harrison Locke will say he misses spending time with his parents together. Kyle will say they're still a family. They'll work on Harrison's project, and he'll tell him he's so glad they're not fighting anymore. Once the family diorama is completed, Kyle will take a photo of it and Harrison will ask him to send it to Claire. Summer will make a face, and she won't look happy when Claire calls and Kyle puts her on speakerphone. At Nate's place, Damien will arrive. He'll walk inside and Amy Lewis will try to hug him. But Damien will put his hand up to stop her. "You know I cut all ties with you and my past, without the intention of ever looking back." He'll add he's happy with his new life and will suggest she be happy with hers. Young and the Restless scoop. Amy thinks her son doesn't even care. "I don't have much life left," Amy will reply. "Damien, I'm sick, I'm dying." Damien will suspect she's lying, but Amy will say she has leukemia. He'll tell his mother it reminds him of when his dad died. Then he'll try to leave. "This woman gave birth to you, how can you be so cold?" Nate will ask him. Amy will add there's something else he needs to know. "Jackson was a wonderful man, but he wasn't your biological father." Damien will say he doesn't buy it, Jackson would have told him. "Jackson didn't know either," she'll reply. Damien will turn to Nate and ask what it has to do with him. "When I'm gone, I don't want you to be alone," she'll reply. So Damien will ask if she wants him to meet his father, but she'll say he passed away. His name was Nathan Hastings, Nate's father. Nate is your half-brother. Damien will think it's a scam, but Nate will say DNA testing proves it's the truth. "We grew up not knowing the other one even existed," he'll reply. "I can't speak for you, but I was much better off before my mother told me this supposed truth." Nate will say he knows it'll take time for him to get used to. "I don't know what your deal is, but I'm not looking for family." Damien will reply, "Sorry you wasted your time." Finally, after Damien leaves, Amy will break down in tears. "I just told my son that I'm dying, and he doesn't even care," she'll tell Nate, who will say Damien's in shock. Nate will promise to track him down and get through to him. But can he? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, February 11, promise some major bombshells as February sweeps continue to unravel in Genoa City. Someone defends their actions, while a family struggles with a reunion, and a character takes control of a situation. What's set to unravel during Tuesday's show? Time to find out. Victor Newman defends his action. As I and our fans know, Victor Newman generally doesn't give a damn. However, it sounds like for whatever reason, he'll be defending his actions during Tuesday's show. Could this be about his unwavering need to try and end Claire Newman's romance with Kyle Abbott? The Moustache has made it clear he doesn't approve, so will Victoria Newman try and talk some sense into him? Is there more to why he doesn't want to see Claire with Kyle? After all, he seemingly encouraged a style reunion to Summer Newman during the Monday, February 10 show, so what gives? Nate Hastings' family reunion struggles. Across town, it looks like Amy Lewis and Damien King will finally reunite. However, it won't be a blissful and beautiful event. Sadly, it sounds like it will all feel more like a confrontation than a family gathering. The Y&R preview for the week of February 10 to 14 revealed that Damien will head to Nate Hastings' condo to meet up with his mom. But from the clip shown, the encounter will get heated. Can Nate smooth things over for this mother and son so they can move forward? Diane Abbott takes control. Lastly, it looks like Diane Abbott will take control of the situation, and this may be about her idea to renovate the Abbott mansion. Tracy Abbott has given her blessing and may help, but could this all end in disaster? Jack Abbott hates change and loves the nostalgia aurora the Abbott home has right now, so is Diane playing with fire? Are you excited about Tuesday's episode? Join the conversation below. Check out the Y&R on CBS Daily for your fill of Genoa City drama, and visit SOS often for all the best Young and the Restless updates, news, and spoilers. The Young and the Restless spoilers recap for Tuesday, February 11, reveals Victoria Newman's arrest story will stun Claire Newman before Summer Newman's jealousy shows. At Society, Jack Abbott will stop by Claire and Victoria's table with Diane Jenkins Abbott. That'll give Jack a chance to bring up Victor Newman's interference in Victoria's romantic life, and the possibility that he could do the same to Claire. Once Jack and Diane walk away, Victoria will come clean about Victor making sure she got arrested on her wedding day to Billy Abbott years ago. That news will shock Claire as she pushes for all the details on Tuesday's I&R episode. Claire will admit to having some concerns about Kyle Abbott's lingering bond with Summer, especially since Victor warned that he'd break her heart. However, Victoria will think Claire needs to trust her own heart instead and stop listening to Victor. At the Newman Ranch, Nick Newman will suspect that Victor is hoping that Kyle and Summer's bond will drive a wedge in his relationship with Claire. Victor will point out that he's an old-fashioned guy when it comes to families sticking together. Although Victor will think Summer can handle herself, he won't feel the same about Claire since she's so naive when it comes to love. Once Victoria comes home and warns that she won't let Victor interfere in Claire's love life, he'll lose his temper and stomp off for a business meeting. At the Abbott mansion, Harrison Abbott will be excited for his family night working on his school diorama with Summer and Kyle. After Harrison hints about them maybe hugging like they did on Halloween, Kyle and Summer will make sure he understands they're not getting back together. Once Summer, Kyle and Harrison have some fun putting the project together, Harrison will want his dad to send a pic to Claire right away. That'll leave Summer looking jealous, and that trend will continue once Claire calls Kyle to gush over the artwork. Harrison will just wish Claire had been there with them tonight since that would have made it perfect. Based on the look on Summer's face, she obviously won't agree. At Nate Hastings' apartment, Amy Lewis will come clean about not having much time left due to her leukemia diagnosis. It'll take some convincing, but Damian Kane will finally seem like he believes Amy. Although Damian will be sorry about what Amy's going through, he won't be eager to reconnect. Things will get worse once Amy admits Jackson Kane wasn't Damian's biological father, and that his bio dad was Nathan Hastings instead. Damian will worry this is some kind of scam, but Amy will insist it's true and stress the importance of Damian having family when she's gone. Since Damian won't be interested, he'll storm out and leave Amy sobbing. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate will comfort Amy and make a prediction about getting through to Damian, so stay tuned for updates on his efforts. The Young and the Restless scoop for Tuesday, February 11, reveals Damian Kane will learn that Nate Hastings is his half-brother. Also coming up, Victor Newman won't be budged on his stance about Claire Newman and Kyle Abbott. Plus, Summer Newman will be uncomfortable, and Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins will warn Victoria Newman. Y&R spoilers tease Jack and Diane will confront Victoria about Billy Abbott's being ousted from Chancellor. But she'll tell them it was Jill Abbott's doing, not her father's. A day will soon come when you can't defend the indefensible, Jack will reply. Then he'll ask Victoria what she's going to do when Victor starts interfering in Claire's life. Jack will remind Victoria what Victor did to her. Diane will coax Jack away, and Claire will ask her mom what Victor did to her. So she'll tell her daughter she and Billy said their I do's, but then she was taken away in handcuffs. And she's not about to let the same thing happen to Claire someday. I&R Daily Scoop. Summer makes a face when Claire calls them. Meanwhile, Nick Newman will say he knows what Victor's up to. He wants to manipulate Summer, so she drives a wedge between Claire and Kyle. Victor will reply that Kyle isn't good enough for Claire. Then why on earth is Kyle good enough for Summer? Nick will ask, but Victor will say it's different. There's a child involved. They're connected, deeply connected. Nick will tell him that when it comes to protecting the family, it always has to be on Victor's terms. I love you, but it's Summer's life. Victor will say Claire is innocent. I don't want her to fall in love with that Abbott idiot. Then Victoria will show up to confront him about his interference in her daughter's life. She'll remind him he did it to her. I'm not going to let it happen to Claire, Daddy. But Victor won't be having it. He'll say he doesn't want to argue about it, and he'll storm off. At the Abbott estate, Harrison Locke will say he misses spending time with his parents together. Kyle will say they're still a family. They'll work on Harrison's project, and he'll tell them he's so glad they're not fighting anymore. Once the family diorama is completed, Kyle will take a photo of it and Harrison will ask him to send it to Claire. Summer will make a face, and she won't look happy when Claire calls, and Kyle puts her on speakerphone. At Nate's place, Damien will arrive. He'll walk inside and Amy Lewis, Valerie Pettiford, will try to hug him, but Damien will put his hand up to stop her. "You know I cut all ties with you and my past, without the intention of ever looking back." He'll add he's happy with his new life and will suggest she be happy with hers. Young and the Restless Scoop. Amy thinks her son doesn't even care. "I don't have much life left," Amy will reply. "Damien, I'm sick, I'm dying." Damien will suspect she's lying, but Amy will say she has leukemia. He'll tell his mother it reminds him of when his dad died. Then he'll try to leave. "This woman gave birth to you, how can you be so cold?" Nate will ask him. Amy will add there's something else he needs to know. "Jackson was a wonderful man, but he wasn't your biological father." Damien will say he doesn't buy it. Jackson would have told him. "Jackson didn't know either," she'll reply. Damien will turn to Nate and ask what it has to do with him. "When I'm gone, I don't want you to be alone," she'll reply. So Damien will ask if she wants him to meet his father, but she'll say he passed away. His name was Nathan Hastings, Nate's father. "Nate is your half-brother." Damien will think it's a scam, but Nate will say DNA testing proves it's the truth. "We grew up not knowing the other one even existed," he'll reply. "I can't speak for you, but I was much better off before my mother told me this supposed truth." Nate will say he knows it'll take time for him to get used to. "I don't know what your deal is, but I'm not looking for family." Damien will reply, "Sorry you wasted your time." Finally, after Damien leaves, Amy will break down in tears. "I just told my son that I'm dying, and he doesn't even care," she'll tell Nate, who will say Damien's in shock. Nate will promise to track him down and get through to him. But can he? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, February 11. See Diane taking drastic actions on her own. Plus, Victor is on the defense while Nate struggles to reunite Damien and Amy. It's going to be a drama-filled day, and you won't want to miss a moment. Next on Young and the Restless. It seems like things are finally going well for Diane and Jack. For the most part, their life is fairly calm these days. Kyle is back in the family fold, and Diane and Jack couldn't be happier. There's just one small thing marring Diane's happy life: the Abbott mansion. She thinks it feels dated and wants to put her touch on it while updating it to be more with the times. Not surprisingly, Jack was taken aback when Diane suggested it. It seemed she was going to take things slowly and get Tracy to help warm her brother up to the idea. However, when Diane takes matters into her own hands, does that mean she's not willing to wait? DEFENSE. Victor decided that not only does he not want Jack and Nikki to be friends, but also he doesn't want Jack's son Kyle to date his granddaughter Claire. Of course, Nikki, Victoria, and Claire aren't too keen on Victor's latest edict. Now, Victor finds himself having to defend his actions. Is it in relation to his recent meddling in Claire's relationship, or is Victor defending something else he's done recently, like shooting Ian Ward? Reunited and it feels. It's been something of a wild year for Nate. He thought he met his half-brother Damien, but found out that it was Holden. It seems the real Damien hired Holden to find out what Nate was up to. Now that the secret is out, Damien believes Nate is taking advantage of his sick mother. Amy, of course, that's not what's happened since Amy came to him. It's not surprising that Nate struggles to reunite Amy and Damien. Will he be successful, or is there more to this whole thing than meets the eye? We're betting there's more. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Adam Newman could play matchmaker for a long-awaited couple. It looks like Adam may push a special duo together, so let's talk about how things might play out. Despite all Chelsea Lawson's protests, it's easy to see that she's craving more than friendship and co-parenting deep down. Adam may be on the verge of getting the romantic reunion he's been hoping for. Once Chelsea caves in and accepts that she's meant to be with Adam, it could motivate Adam to help another couple down their own romantic path. That brings us to a potential hint Y and R offered in the February 10 episode. After Sharon Newman stopped by with a gift for her new neighbors, she spent some time gushing to Adam and Chelsea about Nick. It was enough to make Adam consider whether Sharon was developing real feelings for Nick again. Adam has his own history with Sharon, but he knows her bond with Nick is arguably far stronger. On more than one occasion, Adam has basically admitted that no one can compete with Nick and Sharon's love for each other. Now that Sharon's made it through her horrible ordeal, and Nick's proven to be her knight in shining armor, Adam might decide it's time for them to stop dancing around the inevitable. That's especially true if Adam and Chelsea are about to do the same thing. We could certainly imagine Adam playing Cupid a bit and perhaps trying to push Nick back in Sharon's romantic direction. Once Adam is blissfully reunited with Chelsea, he may try to sell Nick on how happy he could be with Sharon if he just surrender. Adam might insist that he can tell this is what Sharon wants too. Nick may be wary of wrecking his friendship with Sharon, but Adam might think it's worth the risk if something amazing comes out of it. This could be Nick and Sharon's chance to live happily ever after, so Adam may push his brother to take it. Maybe Adam will urge Nick to just meet Sharon halfway and accept that this reunion needs to happen. Our predictions hint that Adam could have a matchmaking plot in his future, so stick with us for updates on whether it'll lead to Nick and Sharon getting back together. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Adam may hope for good news once he gives Nick a nudge back toward Sharon, so stay tuned. It's the place to be for exciting Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so make us your favorite Y and R hotspot. Claire is donning her battle gear to square off with her grandfather on Young and Restless, but it turns out he may be the least of her concerns when it comes to saving her relationship with Kyle. There's a looming obstacle that simply may be too formidable to overcome, and it's not even on her radar. This week's Young and Restless preview teases Claire appealing to Victoria for help. As viewers well know, the newest member of the Newman family is getting her first taste of her grandfather's penchant for meddling in the romantic affairs of his children and grandchildren, as Victor has declared his opposition to her romance with Kyle. Victoria, despite her extensive experience in this area, doesn't have clear-cut answers given she and Cole just wrestled with the same issue recently. Cole, of course, was able to win Victor over by proving his mettle, not backing down, and allowing his former father-in-law to embrace the idea of their reunion on his own timetable. Claire, having witnessed this miracle, and with some encouragement from her grandmother Nikki, now thinks she merely has to persuade Victor to see that Kyle is good for her, and all will be coming up roses. While that may be a possibility, there's another looming obstacle that she's totally unaware of, and one that may play right into Victor's hands. This obstacle we're speaking of is one that Claire won't see coming. Why? Because this particular impediment to her romance with Kyle absolutely adores her. Unfortunately for the former nanny, Harrison loves the idea of his parents getting back together even more than he does his dad's new girlfriend. The weekly preview told Soaps readers all they needed to know when it teased Harrison telling his parents he loved their family time together and hoped they might hug again like they did on Halloween. The writing is on the wall here. Harrison's desire for his mom and dad to be together is going to prove to be a far bigger problem for Claire than even Victor. It goes without saying if Victor gets wind of his great-grandson's wishes, he'll be more than happy to help him set a parent trap. After all, the mustache just welcomed Chelsea, of all people, back into the fold. This tells us that he believes couples should be together for the sake of their children, even if one of them framed the other for murder. If this is Victor's outlook, you could be sure he'll set aside his ideas about Newman's steering clear of Abbott's to push Summer back toward Kyle, thereby killing two birds with one stone. Young and the Restless 2-week spoilers find Sharon Newman and Nick Newman's flame still smoldering during the 2 weeks of February 10 to 21, 2025. Also, another former couple may be heating back up while a newcomer's ties to Genoa City are uncovered on Y&R. Check out the latest spoilers for the next 2 weeks on the CBS daytime drama. Young and the Restless 2-week spoilers. Valentine's magic for Sharon Newman and Nick Newman. Young and the Restless spoilers see Sharon Newman in a close moment with her ex-husband, Nick Newman, this week. Most likely, it happens on Valentine's Day. There is a pic floating around of Sharon and Nick dancing. Indeed, they look smitten. It seems that Young and the Restless has been hinting at a chic reunion for a while now, and fans might just get their wish this Valentine's Day. Y&R 2-week spoilers. Phyllis Summers gets closer to Billy Abbott, while Nick Newman might renew his love with Sharon Newman. There appears to be a second old flame being revisited. Another photo is circulating and making a buzz. It's of Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, slow dancing with Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson. So they could very well find themselves swept up in a romantic moment. However, she later feels the need to set boundaries on Young and the Restless. Perhaps she's trying to be good because she knows Billy's seeing Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope. She may not want to put herself in a messy situation. Indeed, that sounds nothing like Phyllis. However, she is trying to prove to everyone that she is a better person. On the other hand, Billy is with Sally in Paris this week on Young and the Restless. So it doesn't seem likely that he'd have the chance to be spending time with Phyllis. Furthermore, many fans suspect she's only dreaming about sharing a special moment with Billy. Perhaps this makes her realize she still has feelings for him, and that could be why she needs boundaries. But knowing Red, she'll likely try to get Billy away from Sally. Young and the Restless next 2 weeks. Holden Novak's past explored. Additionally, on Y&R, we get to learn a bit more about Holden Novak and the connection he has to the town and the people in it. This week, he runs into someone he knows. So far, it's unclear how well he knows the person. But it will be interesting to see who it is and what comes from it. Perhaps Holden will be sticking around Genoa City for a bit. And his boss, Damian Kane, might be staying on Young and the Restless as well. However, he could be stirring up trouble. This week, Nate Hastings gets a warning about Damian from Devin Hamilton and Lily Winters. Also, Lily has a tense-looking run-in with Damian. Elsewhere, Victor Newman is on the defense. Diane Jenkins takes action that could land her in hot water. Elsewhere, on Young and the Restless, Summer Newman is cold to Sharon. And Daniel Romalotti faces a difficult decision. Y&R is full of love, romance, drama, and action over the next 2 weeks. Don't miss a minute to see if this is the start of a new chapter for Nick Newman and Sharon Newman on the CBS soap opera. Eric Braeden has never been the one to hold back his opinions. And when it comes to the Young and the Restless, the legendary Victor Newman himself knows who could have stirred more trouble for his iconic love story with Nikki. In a recent interview that has left us all shocked, Braeden opened up about his long history on the CBS soap and revealed some shocking details. Read on to know more. The Young and the Restless icon opens up about his journey. The Young and the Restless icon, Eric Braeden, recently celebrated 45 years on the iconic soap. In an interview with TV Insider, the exceptional star opened up about his 4-decade journey on the show and revealed shocking details. When asked if there was something he wished he could have played over the years, only one thing came to the actor's mind. He said the writers should have involved a woman in his dramatic life other than Victor's wife, Nikki. It looks like Eric wanted his character's relationship with Ashley Abbott to last longer. While shedding light on the same, he said, "Well, I kind of regret that there wasn't this ongoing relationship with Ashley. That could have always been looming in the background. But other than that, to be frank with you, no." Longtime viewers know that Victor and Ashley were an item, but he wanted to be a bigger threat to him and Nikki. Despite having disagreements about what comes to him from time to time, Brayden always wants to perform best on screen. He also highlighted that it gets tough on some days, but it is also rewarding. That is the challenge, and it's more of a challenge than you realize, Brayden said. But writers are the most unsung people in this business, really. The star also talked about the heartbreak of losing his home in brutal LA wildfires. As of now, Brayden's alter ego is involved in an intriguing storyline where he wants his granddaughter to leave Kyle Abbott. We know Newmans and Abbotts have a long history of issues, so Victor doesn't want Claire to be involved with any Abbott man. For more such updates on The Young and the Restless, keep checking Soap Opera Daily. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, February 11, reveal that Summer Newman and Kyle Abbott are in the hot seat when Harrison Abbott says how forward he is looking to his family night with his divorced parents. Kyle's mother, Diane Jenkins Abbott, also has a surprise at the Abbott mansion, which reminds the boy of Halloween, and he remembers when Kyle and Summer shared a hug. Soap kids never stop wanting their parents to reunite, but will Kyle throw the hammer down and bring up how he and Claire Newman are now an item? Soap kids want their parents back together. Or will Kyle think a hug between co-parents is a happy idea? Whatever Kyle does, Summer could be inclined to wonder if she and Kyle have a future. Meanwhile, Diane inserts herself into the trio, perhaps because she doesn't like the closeness between Kyle that she is seeing. Or then again, it could have to do with the Abbott mansion refresh she's pushing. Jack Abbott is not on board with changing his habitat, and Diane's insistence could be about to throw a wrench into their harmony. Unless she incorporates feng shui, Diane's Abbott mansion overhaul. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Victor Newman is all for Kyle and Summer reuniting, as if he has a say in it. His son, Nick Newman, doesn't want Victor to push it, and we see old tensions resurfacing, so soon after Victor's shooting had everyone singing Kumbaya. Victoria Newman gets into the act and tells Victor to let Claire live her own life. Yeah, got that? Don't call me bro. Elsewhere, the real Damien Kane is at Nate Hastings' apartment when the half-brother bomb drops. When Damien angrily tells Nate, "Don't call me bro," the look on Nate's face is priceless. Damien surmises that Nate is exploiting Amy Lewis' illness, but she spills that she's the one behind the charade. We predict that Damien needs to process this data being thrown at him, and he may have a hard time accepting Nate and forgiving Amy after she lied to him about his identity. Victoria and Nick sit at the bar in society discussing when to set up the quarterly meeting. Once they have wrapped up the business talk, she remarks on how much work slips through the cracks when you are busy dealing with nearly getting murdered. It's good they are so good at what they do. After a little fist bump, Nick tells his sister how nice it is to focus on work after all the bullets they dodged. Victoria points out they didn't all dodge the bullets. Nick is just grateful things worked out. He's sure the old man has a lot of years left in him. Unless he doesn't, Victoria counters. She explains that when she checked in on their father earlier, he seemed morose about the future. It's not like him. Nick says he could have died, but didn't, and he's likely just taking stock of his life. She gets that, but it was still unnerving, and she'll never be ready for the day they lose their parents. He's with her on that, but it's inevitable. They just need to enjoy the time they have and love them as much as they can. Nick reminds her of how many close calls their dad has had. He always comes back stronger than before and has a lot of life left in him. He better, she says. Harrison pitches an idea. Harrison is with his parents on the Crimson Lights patio. They have snacks, and he tells them he needs to make a shoebox diorama about a typical day at home. He already has lots of ideas and would like his parents to help. Summer suggests they have dinner at the Abbott mansion to start right away. When Kyle reacts warily, Summer backtracks, but his son begs him to agree. Kyle caves. Harrison is sure that his friends will be doing dioramas about playing games, but he wants to do one about his family sitting around the dining room table. His favorite part of the day is when they eat together. Laughing, Kyle is sure Jack will love that. Harrison adds he loves it best when his mom is there. Summer loves that but points out that's not typical. Harrison seems disappointed, so they assure him he doesn't need to change a thing. Awkwardness ensues, but Harrison is super excited. He wants to put Mrs. Martinez in the diorama too. Kyle hands him money to run inside and buy her a treat. Summer apologizes to Kyle if she infringed on plans he had for the night. He admits he was supposed to have dinner with Claire and Victor, which is likely why he's happy to have a reason to get out of it. Claire wants to show her grandfather that he's a good guy. Summer had no idea they'd reached the point where they require Victor's blessing. She can't recall them going to extremes to win her grandfather's approval. Kyle points out Victor's opinion of him has changed since then. His ex says it looks like things are getting serious with Claire. Kyle asks if that will be a problem, but Summer assures him it won't be. She's happy for him as long as he's happy, and Claire is better than Audra. He goes on about how Claire is the most incredible woman he's been with, but then apologizes if that sounds like a dig at her. It's just fresh, and he's excited about the future. Harrison returns with a cupcake for Mrs. Martinez. It's his favorite kind, and his mom teases that he must be planning on having her share it with him. Claire debates Victor. Claire wanders into the new ranch and surprises Victor as he's looking at his tablet. As she takes off her coat, they chat about her work ethic and all the wonderful work she has been doing at Chancellor. They discuss his recovery, and he assures her that he'll be back at the heavy bag in no time. When she asks him to dinner, he says he'd love it. When she adds it will include Kyle, he says that's a different story. Claire assumes he's looking for an excuse. Her grandfather explains he can't condone her relationship with Kyle. She's not backing down. Victor is impressed that she's so stubborn. She's a Newman. More, love triangles for Valentine's Day. Flatly, Victor tells Claire that Kyle is wrong for her. He's sure she can't see beyond the romance of it all. That seems condescending to Claire. She wants him to see the man she knows and see why he's so good for her. Adjusting in his chair and groaning in pain, Victor admits that this is about Kyle being Jack's offspring. He detests that man and has had decades of bad relations with him and his mendacity. When she suggests they let the past go, her grandfather points out that Kyle just stabbed his own family in the back and stole from them. Claire suggests that he had more than a little to do with that. Waving his finger, Victor refuses to take the blame. Claire fills her grandfather in on her lunch with the Abbotts, noting how dear family clearly is to Jack. That warms the cockles of my heart, Victor snarks. He respected John, but Jack is a joke. He and Kyle both inherited everything. They are weak and built nothing from the ground up. Kyle went back to his family because he couldn't hack it on the outside. Victor's baffled Kyle would agree to have dinner with him. She explains that Kyle is willing to put his feelings about Victor aside for her sake. Claire knows that her grandfather has tended to step in whenever Victoria got involved with someone he didn't approve of. Victor points out that her mother married Billy Boy Abbott and that Ashland locked Guy, and they both broke her heart. His granddaughter can't deny that, but says she loves Kyle and he wants to be with her. More, my and our weekly preview video. As Victor promises he only wants what's best for Claire, Kyle calls. He hopes she hasn't proposed dinner yet and explains he can't make it. He and Summer have to help their son with an art project. Claire wouldn't want to get in the way of that. Besides, dinner has been a hard sale. This is no surprise to Kyle. Claire is not giving up and suggests they reschedule. Once she hangs up, she tells Victor he's off the hook for now and why. He warns that Kyle will always put Summer and their son first. The world is opening up for Claire. What can she see in that guy? Claire says he makes her feel safe and loved. That's what she assumes her grandfather wants for her, so she won't give up. Smiling, Victor says she's as stubborn as he is, but he warns that Kyle will not change. Back at Crimson Lights, Summer, Kyle, and Harrison plan to meet up later and work on the diorama. Pulling his parents into his arms, Harrison tells them he loves them. They are the best mom and dad ever. More, Ray Wise talks Ian's return. Sharon visits Adam and Chelsea. Adam is at the ranch calling for his son. Chelsea walks in sucking her fingers as Adam complains their boy polished off his favorite chips. He wants to have a talk with him about boundaries. Food is sacred. Chelsea admits that she ate them. He jokes that they still have a lot to learn about each other. Their smiles drop when Sharon walks in to welcome them to the neighborhood. Sharon explains that Connor let her in on the way to the stables. She knows this may be awkward, but she's determined to establish a sense of normalcy, like visiting her neighbors. She brought a quilted throw since it gets chilly in the country, but she wasn't sure if she should get one or two. Chelsea leaps into insisting they won't be sharing and makes it clear they're not a couple. Apologizing for seeming nosy, Sharon reminds them they have found their way back together in the past. Chelsea assures her that history will not be repeating itself, especially since she practically has her own wing. Sharon nods along. Adam and Chelsea tell Sharon how happy they are to see her after her ordeal. Sharon explains she's putting that behind her and focusing on getting healthy again. I don't want you worrying that I'm still out of my mind on drugs and framing people for crimes they didn't commit, she adds. Adam assures her they don't feel that way, and Chelsea talks about being kind to yourself when dealing with mental issues. They know she was a victim. Sharon knows she still needs to make amends. Her meds are balanced again, and therapy is going great. My family has been so supportive and understanding, especially Nick, she coos. That's my brother, Adam says, grinning widely and nodding his head. Sharon continues to gush about how important Nick's support has been to her. Eventually, she realizes she's taking up their time. Reminding them she's nearby if they need anything, she takes off. More, is Eric Braden leaving? Adam hopes that the worst is behind Sharon. Chelsea suggests the worst could be behind for all of them. She worries Sharon didn't buy her insistence that they aren't a couple again, but Adam points out she sold it pretty hard. He warns that people will continue to assume they are a couple. It's going to get tiring explaining they aren't. Chelsea tells him to get ready to be tired. As she looks at the throw Sharon left, they return to teasing each other about chips. He brings up how Sharon was speaking about Nick. She was practically glowing, and it seemed all too familiar. He wonders if she is developing real feelings for him again. Summer jogs into the new ranch house to check on her grandfather. Spotting Claire, she apologizes for disrupting her plans tonight and hopes she's not upset. Claire says they can have dinner anytime and Harrison is what matters. Once she exits, Summer asks how Victor is feeling. What he went through was terrifying. Victor is glad she wasn't there. She knows he was quite the hero, but wishes he would promise not to do that sort of thing again. He insists he will always do anything to protect his family. More, Daniel Goddard's message to his son. Claire asks Victoria for help. Back at Society, Nick tells Victoria how much of a toll the ordeal with Sharon took on Faith. He couldn't be prouder of how tough and resilient his daughter has been. Victoria asks how Sharon has been after her roller coaster. Nick thinks she's amazing. What she went through would have broken most people. He only hopes that her recovery is genuine and she's not masking what's really going on. His sister is sure she now has the chance to get back to normal. Nick says she knows that she can lean on him and the kids for all she needs. He hates what Ian and Jordan put her through, along with everyone else. I only hope Ian and Jordan are rotting in hell now, he says. Victoria is sure they are. As they hug, Claire walks in. Nick exits and Claire immediately asks her mom for help. She needs to know how to win a fight with Victor Newman. Her mother assumes this involved Kyle, and Claire explains she tried to set up a peacemaking dinner, but it didn't go well. Victoria isn't sure there's any way to fix this. There's a good chance Victor will not approve of anyone she gets involved with. Not willing to leave it at that, Claire vows to prove to all doubters that Kyle is her perfect man. Good luck with that, says her mother. Kyle and Harrison arrive at the Abbott manse with bags full of stuff for making his diorama. He asks his dad if he's happy that Summer is coming over. He knows they used to fight all the time and asks if they just pretend to be nice to each other when he's around. Kyle points out that he let her finish his cookie. Would he let someone he didn't like eat his cookie? Laughing, Harrison realizes he wouldn't. The boy wishes it could be like the old days when the three of them were always together for everything. More, a crisis changes everything for Damien and Nate. Victor's caught in the act. Nick arrives at the ranch, happy to see Summer and Victor together. He learns Summer and Kyle are spending time together with Harrison, and listens as Victor goes on about how important it is for a child to see their parents connecting. For example, he thinks Chelsea moving in with Adam is wonderful. Summer hopes he's not implying she should move back in with the Abbotts because that's not really an option. Victor teases that he wouldn't wish that on anyone. After Summer gives her granddad a kiss and exits, Nick shoots his father a disapproving look and asks, "Did I just hear you encourage Summer to get back together with Kyle?"